What up, YouTube? Quasi here. On my way home, it is time to talk about some of my worst riding habits. I've been thinking about doing a video like this for a while. I just never got around to it. So off the top of my head, some of the worst habits I've noticed so far that I have while riding are riding my clutch. And I'll go into detail here in a second, but riding my clutch, coasting through turns, sometimes getting distracted and not paying as much attention to intersections specifically as I should, revving too high or like cruising in too high of revs. What else? Not always looking completely through the turn. Sometimes I get fixated on something else, even still. I think those are the big ones. Trying to think of anything else. There's other stuff, I'm sure. Y'all can probably point out a billion things. But yeah, those are the major ones, and I'm working on them. I'm aware of them, and it's something I consciously try to counteract, but sometimes you're not paying as much attention as you should. Maybe everyone's not like that. Maybe that's just me, and maybe I'm a bad person by saying that, but it's something I recognize that happens every once in a while, and I try to be aware of it. Sometimes I realize like 5 or 10 minutes later that, oh shit, how did I get here? I'm sure there's got to be at least one other person who has that feeling. And I'm paying attention, at least I think I am, I hope I am, but maybe not enough. So sometimes I try to like mentally recalibrate, refocus, and in my mind I'm processing everything. I'm like, okay, signs here. I'm consciously processing because I'm always looking at them anyways, but signs here, intersection coming up, how many cars are in the area, is there a car 3 cars ahead that looks like it's braking, all that stuff. That's something that I consciously try to work on and I'm aware of to help counteract that the inattentiveness that sometimes happens. The other ones, for example, riding my clutch, part of that is a byproduct of this bike. The fueling, at least on my bike, is kind of snatchy. I'm noticing more and more. I didn't care as much when I first started riding, but now I notice that on, you feel that every time I roll off the throttle, I dip forward. Every time I roll on, I'm like knocked back. That has made me develop a habit of riding my clutch pretty hard for any time I want to like downshift or like slow down. I will roll off the throttle, pull in my clutch, and kind of like ride my clutch and slow down like that. And that's really probably not a good idea for me to be doing. I'm gonna wear out my clutch. Maybe not, I don't know. They could probably take quite a bit of wear and abuse, but it seems like a bad habit to me. Maybe y'all can correct me. Related to that is coasting through turns. Same reason, because I don't like that snatchy off-on feeling. Sometimes I just completely coast through turns. I pull my clutch in and ride it out. Let's see if I can get by this person. Anyways, so what was I talking about? Oh, coasting through turns. Yeah, for the same reason I ride my clutch sometimes. I coast through turns because I don't like that snatchy on-off feeling. I like to smooth it out, and by doing that I can't really exactly accelerate out of a turn because I'm not in gear. I gotta feather it back in. So that's something I'm working on. What else did I mention? Riding my clutch, coasting through turns, not paying attention. I probably don't pay enough attention to my lane position because I move myself. So for those of you who don't know, in MSF courses they usually divide up a single lane on the road into 3 sub lanes, like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3. I forget what they call it. Right, left, middle, right, left, center. And depending on what your environment is and what kind of riding you're doing, if you're on the highway, you're trying to make a turn or whatever, you're in different parts of the lane. And I never really consciously remember those lane positions. I have seen someone made a comment that I ride too much on the right side, which makes it hard sometimes for cars pulling out to see me because I'm so close, whereas if I was farther out on the left over here, they have more advance notice of me coming, and that's pretty valid. That's a good criticism. But I shift to the left or to the right to try and get visibility around the cars in front of me. Oh, the other one was looking through turns. I know you're supposed to look all the way through a turn and not at points in the turn, but sometimes it's still difficult. Sometimes you have to remind yourself, hey, look all the way through the turn. I think I'm getting a little bit better, but I don't do it enough. I look too close, and not even always just through turns. In general, when I'm riding, I don't look far enough ahead. I think the recommendation is you look like 10 to 15 seconds ahead. That way you actually have time to react. But sometimes I'm really looking at maybe the first 3 cars in front of me, 4 cars, and I tunnel vision. So that is something I need to work on. I'll put that on my list. And then, let's see, the other thing. There was one more. Oh, my turn in. Picking my line through corners. This probably doesn't matter too much for city riding, but maybe a little bit depending on the turn. But I have noticed that sometimes I turn into a turn too early, so that means that I end up correcting halfway through, and I'm not doing one consistent line like I could be. I don't know if I can demonstrate that here because there's no really good curves or twisties, and I'm almost home. But y'all probably know what I mean. That's usually not a problem, but if you're going fast enough, or if you start using your brake or whatever, you can end up with some problems there. That was a lot of stuff. Shit, I'm a terrible rider. Alright guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Those are just some of the things I could think of off the top of my head. A lot I need to work on, obviously. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Peace.